Alright, that's one patrol down.
Nothing unusual to report at the moment.
Yep, so far so good. Let's make another loop around.
Agreed. I hope the conference is going smoothly.
I'm a bit nervous. I know the mayor and speaker are doing their best in there, but that's a tough room.
The Blood and Iron Chancellor and President Rocksmith present the greatest challenge.
That they do. Want to ask someone how it's been going during the intermission?
Same day, 3:05 p.m. The trade conference finally reached its halfway point. Before the intermission officially began, the heads of state gave a brief press conference for the media.
I find it funny how liberal is standing between Erebonia and Calvard, though it should have been the Crossbell higher-ups.
Meanwhile, Lloyd and the others took the opportunity to speak with Mr. Grimwood, who started his break ahead of the others.
So that explains it. Things being as precarious as they are, the SSS was asked to assist with the security detail. Exactly. I'm not sure how much of a difference we really make in the grand scheme, though. We might only be an additional peace of mind. Don't sell yourself short, my friend. You're the team that thwarted an assassination attempt on our previous mayor. It's reassuring to have you all here.
That's kind of you to say.
Yeah, thanks for the vote of confidence.
How's the conference going, Mr. Grimwood? Things appear to have gone smoothly thus far.
That's fair to say, so far so good. The participating nations have already agreed to several trade deals. Mayor Croix's efforts are truly beginning to pay off for all of us.
Thank goodness. That puts my mind at ease.
You said it's been good so far. Do you think things may get rocky in the second half?
Oh.
Is there something you're concerned about? This may be out of line for me to say as an observer and not a participant. The purpose of the first half of the conference was to focus on economic proposals that affect things such as trade and finance. However, the second half's focus will be proposals from each country's head of state. Each nation's agenda will come into play. That is undoubtedly when the topic of Crossbell security will be addressed.
That would mean
talking about Crossbell state security means foreign military forces going to enter the equation.
The non-aggression pact was signed only 2 years ago. Can they really do that?
It's true that Liberal's Queen pushed the pact into reality 2 years ago with Crossbell's best interest in mind. Nonetheless, 2 participating nations today technically did not sign the pact. Remiferia and, well, Crossbell itself. It's a foregone conclusion a new continental security framework will be discussed.
Grandfather expects that too, and is equally concerned. Would the simplest solution not be to write a similar new pact and have Crossbell sign it as well? Has to be. They should sign a new framework like the non-aggression pact that prohibits military force between all the nations. Oh.
I get it. Crossbell technically isn't a nation. The Empire and the Republic only recognize Crossbell as an autonomous state. It's as you say, Crossbell lacks the sovereignty to enter an international treaty. Economic dealings alone are not grounds for the state to enter into such agreements. That is why Crossbell security becoming a focus at the trade conference is a precarious issue for Crossbell's leaders. I'm sorry to get it, but this definitely isn't cut and dry.
There is something I would like to ask. Crossbell is not the only autonomous state on the continent. There is also Lehman, Ored, and Northumbria. Are those states also barred from entering into international treaties?
No, they are not. It's true that each state has its own set of historical circumstances as to why they've remained states and not formed nations. However, each state has also been recognized by the major powers as an independent state with sovereignty similar to their own.
So there's sovereign states. Exactly. They're treated very differently than Crossbell, primarily because the sovereignty is recognized by the holy city of Arturia. That would be...
As in the high seat of the Septian Church? That holy city of Arturia?
Yes, as a city-state, Arturia's territory is small, but the church holds religious authority on the continent. Several autonomous states and free cities have been established because of the church's support.
Then you have Crossbell, whose autonomy was gifted to it by Erebonia and Calvard. Then that's how we're in the unique position of having two suzerain states above us.
And that has historically led to Crossbell being dragged into their conflicts time after time. If Crossbell had a modicum of sovereignty, the situation could improve. But if consent from both countries is what it would take for that to become a reality, then it will never happen. I wish I could disagree. When put that way, it does seem bleak.
Getting back to the topic at hand, I would expect the Chancellor and President to have their own security proposals. Naturally, each country's term for such proposals will be vastly different. The Speaker and Mayor will have to be careful of that. Apologies, my young friends. I didn't mean to put even more on your plates. Remember that Speaker McDowell is used to these kinds of things. I sense Mayor Croy still has some cards to play himself. Cards to play? As in a plan?
What could you be referring to?
I don't know the particulars myself, however. It could...
Sorry, I should take this.
Lloyd Bannings of the Special Sports Section speaking.
Hey, Dudley.
Already? Got it. We're still in the break room on the 34th floor. Is there anything else we should know? Yes, actually. We were contacted by both Chancellor Osborne and President Rocksmith. They each requested to speak with the SSS during the intermission. They what? Given who they are, I hope you understand we're in no position to turn them down. The SSS is to visit each leader's rooms during their break, and that's final. The President's room is the furthest one in the West Wing corridor, and the Chancellor's is the furthest room in the East Wing. Hold on a second. I know why we can't refuse, but why ask for us? This is a lot of pressure, Dudley. Don't be childish, Bannings. This is an excellent opportunity to learn the motives of each side. You're right. Okay, we'll head there right away. Listen up. Rely on McDowell if things get difficult. She's the best suited at handling these situations on your team. Report to me once you've finished. Understood.
What was that about, Lloyd?
That chat sounded all over the place. What's going on, bud? Brace yourselves.
Lloyd explained to the others that both Chancellor Osborne and President Rocksmith had requested a private audience with them. Excuse me?
No fooling?
None detected. This does not appear to be a joke.
This is certainly a surprise. The Special Sports Section's name is more well known than I had thought. I don't know about that. I suspect it's because we're familiar with a couple of people from each of their staff. That could explain why the Chancellor and President have taken an interest in us. You might be onto something there.
Regardless of the reason, there's no getting around our hands being tied.
I know. Let's head to the furthest rooms of the east and west wings of the 36th floor. Get this over with. We need to see them right away.
Roger. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I guess we ought to take the elevator. Oh, nope, we can't. How many times must we tell you? The press is not allowed past here. Isn't it an intermission right now, though? Can't you just, somehow...
We promise we only want to take photos. They won't even know we're there.
That's right. I can't let Grace down. Please let us through. Persistent as ever. Good luck trying to tell a reporter where they can and can't go. Well, as long as no one is trying to physically force their way through, they're not breaking any rules.
I guess so. This is just all a part of being a member of the press, right? Maybe, but it is inconvenient for us. So much for using the elevators.
Alright, well then we take the stairs. Fine. I guess they wanted to railroad us. Oh, sorry about that. First off, is that Arios and Kilika?
I believe so. What could they be talking about?
It's almost been a year since you left the guild. Have you adjusted well to your new job?
More or less. I've had to get used to working much harder than I did while I was with the guild.
So it seems.
How has Shizuku been?
As cheerful as ever, though her hearing is almost too good sometimes. I've been blessed to see her more often recently, to laugh with her too.
That's good to hear. It's already been 5 years since Saya's passing, hasn't it? And 6 years since we first met.
That's right, 6 years. You and Saya met completely by chance when you came to Crossbell while wandering the continent. She insisted you stay with our family while in town, no matter how much you tried to refuse, didn't she? I never expected to see you working for the Guild in Liberal 3 years later.
The goddess works in mysterious ways. You never know how connections between people may turn out. I'll never forget the hospitality the two of you showed me back then. I only regret that I was unable to return the favor to her.
Don't dwell on it. The fact you remembered to this day would be more than enough for Saya. Sounds like those two knew each other before they met through the guild.
So it would seem, but I think it would be rude to listen any further. I agree. We should leave before we interrupt them.
They're having a moment. Let them have their moment. Anything in here? Nope, just made. Oh. What do you know? The elevator has arrived. How about that? Please, after you. No, I couldn't. You go ahead. It's quite alright. I promise you I'm in no particular hurry. I insist. You were here first. What's up, Lloyd? Looks like the two soldiers look at those two soldiers by the elevator.
Are they trying to negotiate who rides the elevator first? This is kind of awkward to watch.
Look at them go, like an awkward couple on an anniversary festival date.
We do not have to necessarily use the elevator, you know.
You're right. Oh, that's... Hey, it's a reunion.
So that's what's happened. Oh, Lucy.
Yep, I was only in Remiferia on business, too. Guess she caught wind. Tried to run, but she caught me. Dang, she's gotten better. Do you realize how many books over the head she gave me? Bonks.
0. She hugged you and cried, didn't she?
Dang it.
I know exactly how Lucy feels, you know. She's probably well aware of just how dangerous your day-to-day is, and has been worried sick.
Man, why do perceptive women gotta be so scary? I never know how to handle them.
Maybe, but you brought it upon yourself. This really does take me back. It's been so long since I've seen Leo, too. I'd love for all of us to have a reunion. Why the look, Lecter? Isn't this when you say, yeah, let's all have a bash at Michelin and party till we drop?
Huh, you got me. No promises, but I'll see what I can do. Just don't hold your breath, you know?
I know. I'll still be looking forward to it. I should be going, if you'll please excuse me.
No problem. And hey, don't forget to say hi to Seek for me. I still owe him that salami. Aww. Damn, she's really grown up. She's become the ideal crown princess. You guys think so too, right? Busted. Sorry, we didn't mean to eavesdrop.
It was a happy accident. Was it? You seem very curious about their relationship, Ellie. Tio?
She ain't the only one. You and the princess sure seem close. What's the story? I was her senior back in school. Not Sunday school. Jennus Royal Academy, to be specific. Jennus Royal Academy? Isn't that a prestigious school and liberal?
That's right. It's true that they accept students from abroad, but... Did you study there on Imperial taxpayer money?
Nah, old man Gilead paid my tuition out of pocket. Well, it's about time I hit the old dusty trail myself. Oh, that reminds me. You got called in to talk with the head honchos, right? They're both real pains in the ass to deal with, so good luck in there. What?
Should you really be saying that about your boss? Could he be any more sketchy if he tried?
Who'd have thought the next Queen of Liberal went to school with an Imperial spy? Truth is stranger than fiction, as they say. No matter how you put it, we can't forget that he's a subordinate of the Blood and Iron Chancellor. As for what he's after personally, I think we'll have to figure that out for ourselves. Alright, so these two want to talk? I've been waiting for you. You're the Crossbell Police Department Special Support Section, correct? We are. Is this the President's room? Yes, I've been told to let you pass. Please enter, and mind your manners. Alright.
Please excuse us. This man is the President of Calvard, one of the continent's 2 largest nations.
Sure is. Even I've got butterflies in my stomach. Alright, President Rocksmith, the hell do you want? Excuse us, Mr. President. Thank you for requesting to meet with the Special Support Section. Thank you all for coming. Please sit down. No need to feel anxious, ladies and gentlemen. Right.
Gladly.
I don't know why. I don't like him. Just seems so shifty. Are you all surprised I called you here? Where are my manners? Allow me to apologize for taking up your precious time. I imagine you must be very busy. You don't have to apologize to us.
That's right. It's an honor to have been invited.
You're Speaker McDowell's granddaughter, isn't that right? We met once before at a celebration of some kind, if I remember correctly.
That's right. We spoke once I had the opportunity to visit Calvard with my grandfather. It was 2 years ago.
Ah, yes, now I remember. And then just earlier this year, your grandfather chose not to seek re-election and became the Speaker. I truly admire how passionate he still is at his age. He's a model statesman, if I may say so.
I'm sure Grandfather would be flattered to hear that. By the way, Mr. President, what was it you called us here for?
Ha! Truth be told, I've heard all about you lot from Kilika. This year's Schwarz auction sounded like quite the event, am I right? Frankly, the former Speaker Hartman and I were never on good terms. And selfishly, I'd been eager to meet the police team that tipped the first dominoes that led to his downfall. We're honored, sir. Yeah, but honestly, the dude had it coming. He ain't got no one to blame but himself.
That is true. He made his bed the day he became involved with the cult.
Oh, of course. I know of them too. The DG cult. Their treachery spread across the entire continent. But no country was more affected than my own. I owe you my thanks for putting a stop to them once and for all. You're welcome, but really, we were only doing our jobs. And we weren't alone either. Several other supported us and made sure we solved that crisis in one piece. No need to be so humble, my boy. I heard things were rather dire. Even your Guardian force was being manipulated. Talk about an uphill battle, yet you still managed to overcome it all, protect a little girl, and squash the cult. Good goddess, those are no small achievements, lads. Wow, you flatter us, Mr. President.
Truly, thank you for such high praise.
Honestly, had Crossbell fallen to the cult, I don't know what we would have done. If they had taken hold of the IBC, that would have brought international trade and finance to a halt. Such a thing would have had severe consequences for our economy.
That's true.
All the more reason I'd like to acknowledge your valor. I think the fitting thing to do would be to award you each a medal. Yes, that sounds perfect. As soon as I return to the Republic, I'll have the arrangements made. No, that's not necessary.
Is it appropriate for citizens of Crossbell to receive awards from the Republican government?
And besides, we already got plenty of recognition back in May from Old Man McDowell. Truly, I don't think there's anything inappropriate about it at all. Your troubles are our own as well. After all, the Republic holds suzerainty over Crossbell.
Mr. President.
There's no need for the long faces or the glares, boys and girls. You received an invitation from our pal, the Blood and Iron Chancellor too, did you not? I would be delighted to speak with you all more, but I think my turn is over. And not to fear, I'll see to you receive those awards we spoke of. Please look forward to it.
I don't want any award coming from y'all.
I'm not really interested. Thank you for coming. I believe you were called by Chancellor Osborne too. You can find his room in the opposite wing. Thanks.
We appreciate your help.
You're welcome. Farewell. He was something, wasn't he? Exactly what I expected from the leader of such a large country. Capable and devilishly cunning.
Could you at least wait until we're not standing in front of his room, Wazy? Yes, but he is not wrong. I do not think he was intentionally trying to put pressure on us, but he managed to either way. I think he was trying to keep up appearances. As Calvard's president, it would be good publicity to honor the ones who were credited with ending the cult incident.
He said Crossbell's troubles are theirs as well, which reaffirms that he sees Calvard as Crossbell's owners. Man, you sure that making that clear wasn't his whole reason for calling us in there? These major power leaders got egos as wide as their country's borders. Without a doubt, even Diet members from an autonomous state like this have nothing on them.
We still have to speak with the Chancellor. What could that be about?
I'm not sure what he's going to say, but I do know that we need to steel ourselves before we meet with him.
Oh. Sweet. Hey, Princess. May I ask you something, Sieg? How do you think Grandmother would respond if she were here? You have a point. I can't help but be who I am. Oh, hello, SSS.
Sorry for interrupting, Your Highness.
Don't concern yourselves with it. I was merely talking aloud. I'm glad you're here, to be honest. You are, Your Highness? Are you also ruminating over what could happen during the second half of the conference? There is that, specifically, but I was thinking a tad broader. As Crown Princess, I've some knowledge in the area of diplomatic negotiations. To be a good negotiator, you need several skills, such as insight, judgment, and objectivity. The first half of the conference made me painfully aware that I still have room for growth in those areas. So that is what is bothering you?
Give yourself some credit. Knowing where you can improve is half the battle.
That's right. And you're still only as old as Lloyd, Ellie, and me, Your Highness. You're an inspiration, if you ask me. Do you think so? That's very kind of you. Still, being timid in a room like that is unavoidable at this stage in my career. The continent's troubles won't wait for me to catch up to in experience. I'll have to gain it slowly and take everything in stride as I do.
That's a good way to approach it. Just don't forget to kick back and relax every now and then. Cut loose a little. Like now, for example. It's your break time, isn't it? Wazy, I swear to Idios, if you're thinking of inviting her out for a drink right now.
It's okay, Lloyd. I appreciate that he doesn't feel the need to force formality. It's relaxing, actually. Now that I think about it, perhaps nostalgic is a better word.
I know what she means.
When I'm around all of you, I feel like I'm speaking with Estelle and Joshua and all of our other friends. You do? That might be giving us too much credit. Not at all. It's also customary for friends to treat each other, so would you all care for some tea?
No, we couldn't possibly.
As much as I would love to, there is somewhere else we have to be. My apologies. I should have considered that. I won't keep you any longer. Please be careful today, everyone. I'll be rooting for you. And rest assured that I will be giving the second half of the conference my utmost.
We'll be rooting for you too. I love Princess Claudia. She is the best. I mean, I guess there are all the other dignitaries. Alright. Oh, we're out of deliberations, but I can still feel the fatigue from facing down Osborne and Rocksmith. That may be. However, don't sell yourself short, your lordship. Your predecessors would be proud of how you've handled yourself. It's been 5 years since I ascended to the throne. Domestic order has finally been secured, but I've much to learn as a statesman. Oh, look who it is. Thank you again for all of your help yesterday. Good afternoon, Special Support Section. Pardon our interruption. Yes, I recall you being added to today's security detail. It's my understanding that you once even saved Speaker McDowell's life. I trust we're in good hands. I think you may be expecting a little too much of us. Not at all. I share the sentiment that it's reassuring to have you here. We have the peace of mind to focus ourselves on the second half of the conference.
About that, do you expect things to become problematic, Grandfather?
I do. Unlike the first half, I suspect the faults of Crossbell's state will be put in the spotlight one after another. I imagine the major powers will be as demanding as ever. However, I am also concerned about Dieter. During our latest diet session, he was enthusiastic to introduce radical ideas. Such drive comes with youth, and I do respect that enthusiasm. However, I'm worried what direction that could take us today.
I hadn't thought about it that way. Mr. Grimwood alluded to Mayor Croyce having some kind of plan for the second half of the conference.
I don't know the details myself, but I'm sure he'll bring it to the table sooner or later. The direction of the conference will determine whether this plan brings good or bad fortune. Isn't that right, Speaker? Precisely. As Speaker, I have a duty to be the Mayor's ally during the trade conference. I'm in a difficult position, but I'll do what I can to support Dieter.
Good luck, Grandfather. I'll be rooting for you.
Oh, hey. Good to see you again, SSS.
Mind giving us a status report?
Nothing new to report for now.
How about the two of you? Have you learned anything yet? Unfortunately not. Things have been quiet.
The Empire is exhausting all avenues as well. No leads have come in from either the Reformist faction or the Noble faction.
That's unfortunate.
Not from both major Imperial factions, huh? They seem like real peaches to work with.
Yesterday, Prince Oliver mentioned the possibility of creating a third faction, didn't he? It's been on my mind ever since. If you wouldn't mind, Major, Could you tell me more about what he intends?
Good question, Ellie. Indeed, truth be told, his goal goes beyond simply remaining neutral. I'm not supposed to be saying much, but I don't think there's any harm in sharing a little bit with the SSS. I suppose metaphorically you could say the prince is trying to clear some long-standing barriers. A few barriers in the way sounds all too familiar. Basically, there are irreconcilable differences between the noble and reformist faction. Yet that's not stopping him. He's going to try to have the two come to terms anyway, as absurd as it is.
The prince is trying to have the reformist and noble factions reconcile?
I underestimated just how idealistic he is. Isn't the schism between those two as wide as Guerrilla Canyon itself?
Wazy, don't be so rude.
He's absolutely right. The prince has been dancing with a monster for over a year now, and isn't afraid to think outside the box. People have been saying much worse behind his back. They see him as a showy, debaucherous bastard prince whose only concern is his hobbies. And that's fine with me. I've decided to stand by him regardless. I think that's admirable.
It's just as Princess Claudia has said, the prince will always have an ally in Liberal, Major Mueller. We may not be able to always intervene directly, but we'll assist the two of you in any way we can.
Thank you, Senior Captain. I'm truly grateful.
The prince must truly be loved to have so many valuable allies.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but there's no question that he has an effect on people. Still, the best thing that could happen today would be the trade conference ending without incident. That's all I want. I'll be counting on you should the time come, Special Sports Section.
Man, they're relying on us? I feel that's going a bit far.
That must be the Chancellor's room. The intermission will likely be over by the time we're done speaking with him. We should take care of anything else we need to do beforehand. Members of the press. Or people of staff. I see. We share the same hopes for the bright men and women that will be leading our homes someday. That we do. What's special about them is their hearts and minds are like a pure garden basking in the morning dew. That's why more and more of... Oh, hello, Special Sports Section. Care to join in our chat? Sure, if we're not interrupting, that is.
What were the two of you discussing?
His Highness here happens to be on the board of directors at a prestigious military academy in Erebonia.
Yep.
We were just discussing the finer details of his duty.
The board of directors? Those are the people responsible for how the school is operated, yes?
You've got a lot on your plate, don't you? It's only one of my little schemes to get my name out there. I think the mayor here is doing far more than I am.
Mayor Kreutz is involved too?
He simply means as a business partner. The IBC is the Epstein Foundation's benefactor, and it just so happens the foundation is involved in a major test occurring at the academy.
Yep. Hello from the future.
I feel like I have to remind myself at times that I'm coming back to this while playing Cold Steel.
That would mean you've indirectly contributed. That does remind me. I have heard that orbital network tests have also begun in the Empire.
No surprise the continent's largest bank is holding clout in every country in some form or another. Quite right. I think our little talk today was preordained by the goddess herself. What do you say to being a guest lecturer at the academy one day if the opportunity arises?
That sounds cool.
Though I'll have to warn you that teacher-student relationships are strictly prohibited.
Why does it feel like you're reciting that from perfect memory?
You do sound like quite the popular fellow, Prince Olivert. I may have to steal you away for a night of drinks myself once this is all over. I'd love nothing more, my friend. It'll be a rousing good time.
It looks like His Highness and Uncle have really hit it off.
I'll say. I guess they're more similar than I thought. Well, onward. Let's go speak with the guillotine. That'll be handling our execution. You're the SSS group from the Crossbell Police, correct? His Excellency is waiting for you inside. Don't keep him waiting. Right.
Pardon us. He's exuding arrogance.
Classic Imperial Army, overbearing as all Gehenna. Man, after having heard him talk in Cold Steel, his voice is nothing like I imagined. Excuse us, Chancellor Osborne.
Announcing the arrival of the CPD's Special Sports Section. Thank you for having us.
Do come in. Magnificent view, isn't it? It's fascinating to think that mankind built a structure like this to look down on the world below. We're standing in proof that we finally reached the glory the ancient civilization once had. Maybe so.
Are you referring to the ancient Sumerian civilization from over 1,200 years ago?
Everything I've heard about the ancient civilization makes it sound like they more or less had magic at their fingertips. It wasn't necessarily a utopia, mind you. During last year's liberal incident, a large floating city appeared over the kingdom. That city was constructed before the Great Collapse, yet was sealed away by human hands. It was a symbol of both mankind's potential and its hubris. Our hubris, but our potential too?
It sounds like you know a lot about what's happening around the continent.
Oh, I wouldn't say I know everything. As far as Crossbell is concerned, I haven't discovered nearly as much as that priest Joachim Gunther did.
How do you?
It's what we don't know that makes the world so interesting. If you had everything in the palm of your hand, life as we know it would be helplessly mundane. Don't you agree, Wazy Hemisphere?
So you've heard of me too. Did you only go so far as to learn my name? I hope you're not trying to expose all my dirty little secrets.
Perish the thought. I've no particular interest in doing so. I'm much more interested in the successor to the War God. Yeah? The Imperial Intelligence Division, I take it. Their ability to gather information is second to none. Where are my manners? I am head of state of the Erebonian Imperial Government, Gileath Osborne. I've heard much about you from Lecter. Care to join me for a friendly chat before the intermission ends? Well then, Chancellor, what is it you wanted to discuss with us?
You already seem all too aware of everything that is happening right now.
Don't overthink it. This is merely a polite conversation. There's something I would like to hear your opinions on, however.
Our opinions?
Yes, I'll be frank. How long do you think your precious Crossbell will last? That's a loaded question, isn't it? On the contrary, it's not out of malice. History tells us that no government lasts forever. To say nothing of the Orbital Revolution, which has accelerated all aspects of our current era. How much longer can a land as contested as Crossbell withstand the coming turbulence of this era?
I'm not sure. Forever. As long as there are citizens in this state that have the will to protect it.
Noel. True, having a strong will is important. Resolve, one might say. There are rare instances in time where trends are bucked and the course of history itself is changed. The people are never truly powerless. I don't doubt the potential their resolve can hold.
Then you agree?
However, what will happen when two opposing resolves clash? It's simple. The lesser of the two will be engulfed. fanning the flames of revolution even further. Eventually, that hellfire will swirl and make its way to the surface. The justice and ethics of the past will decay in the searing heat until the world itself is ablaze. Surely you can see it on the horizon. I can understand how, compared to the Empire or the Republic, Crossbell's resolve would seem insignificant. But even if one is smaller, that doesn't make it lesser. It's not a foregone conclusion the larger one will engulf it. Just as it wasn't when Liberal repelled the Imperial Army. That's right, the 100 Days' War from 12 years ago. Well played. Resolve is ultimately a question of tenacity. Liberal was small, but tenacious. It overcame the shambolic effort the Empire put forward. There's much Crossbell could stand to glean from that moment in time. However, I am unconvinced that Crossbellians hold the same pride and conviction that Liberalians do. I'll leave things at that. Our intermission is coming to an end. It almost slipped my mind. Don't expect medals from the Imperial government. The nobility becomes even more irksome when awards are given to commoners. It's like he overheard our conversation with the president. Consider yourselves fortunate. I rarely see His Excellency in such a good mood. What? Are you kidding me? He seems to have taken a liking to you. I understand him may be a tough pill to swallow, but I suggest you accept what he had to say. Though perhaps it isn't my place to tell you that, given my position.
You can't be serious.
That man is a damned monster. Right, but we have to take his perspective for what it is and not let it affect us. Hey Tio, you okay?
Yes, I'll be fine. The imagery he was describing was a little too vivid. I got lightheaded was all. I can't blame you. It was like I could feel the flames he was describing breathing down my neck.
Calling the Blood and Iron Chancellor a monster is putting it lightly. He believes he holds the whole of Crossbell in the palm of his hands. Maybe, but I'm not convinced that he called us here to torment us, believe it or not. Same goes for President Rocksmith. I think the interest they've taken in us is genuine, for better or worse. Let's just take it for what it's been, a learning experience. That's one way to look at it.
I think this is an aspect of you that we can all learn from.
You're telling me, leave it to Lloyd to see the glass as half full.
But he's right. There's no use in letting this slow us down. Of course there isn't. We can use this moving forward.
Now that intermission is over, our next step is obvious. Let's head back to Dudley and report how the two conversations went. Same day, 4:30. So are we about to wrap things up?
Chancellor Osborne and President Rocksmith continued to raise question after question aimed at Crossbell's security and future. As the conversation wore on, the locks on Mayor Croyce and Speaker McDowell's faces became even more sullen and stern.
Great, they're hounding us. The heart of the problem is that a lone cult was able to cause so much public disorder, in a single night no less. Furthermore, half of Crossbell's state guard fell under their control. Such a failure of security is unprecedented. Be that as it may, I thought we had already fully covered those details. The details are not what is in question. It is the quality of your state's crisis management that we are concerned about. You cannot deny the lives and property of Imperial citizens were threatened during that incident. What do you have to say to that? Hold for just a moment, Chancellor. Reparation procedures already took place regarding the cult incident. Asking for further Mira on top of it will only serve to cast Erebonia in unfavorable light. Mira is not the issue either, Your Highness. The Crossbell state government has still yet to answer how it can guarantee true security. There is a need to protect the lives, property, and economic interests of all those in and tied to Crossbell. Is such protection guaranteed from a state constantly in political gridlock and susceptible to top-down corruption? Pardon me, but I'd heard former Speaker Hartman was immediately removed from office upon his corruption coming to light. Crossbell's political system has been shown capable of correcting itself. Wouldn't a new security system suffice? I must disagree, your lordship. Surely you don't think it would be that easy. Crossbell's political foundation is prone to corruption by nature. With that said, I of course know that Mayor Croyce and Speaker McDowell here are outstanding statesmen. However, what would happen to Crossbell without them? How quickly would things regress without their leadership?
Corruption exists in every form of government. That is not true of only Crossbell, but of my kingdom as well. That taken into consideration, would it not be best for us to observe whether the Speaker and Mayor can bring political reform during their terms?
Pardon me for saying so, Your Highness, but I believe that is rather naive of you. I understand why you would be hopeful. However, Crossbell is much different than a monarchy such as Liberal. It is easy to undermine the political system of somewhere that has no central or traditional authority. History has proven that time and time again.
That may be true, but...
If I may, my country also does not have a monarchy, but an honorable republic character. It would be an impressive undertaking by various powers and groups that gathered after our revolution 100 years ago. With that charter in place, our country knows our system can survive and improve, even if it may at times too be stricken with corruption. So you say, but it is not as though our autonomous state law isn't without its own pride and honor. It is true that in our state's young history, imperfections in its design have come to life. However, so too is it that we have been improving upon them slowly but surely. Mr. Grimwood, may I ask how many additional laws and amendments have been passed by Crossbell's government in the last 10 years? But of course, I do not have the exact figure in front of me, however. I would estimate 50 in total. Just 50 in 10 years. I'm surprised. That's an average of only 5 a year. Perhaps, though the rate has been increasing in recent years. There were 12 laws passed last year, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, but admittedly, many of those pertain to additions in finance and the establishment of the orbital network. Regardless, I think it's clear that we cannot assume that a meaningful new security framework would be implemented quickly. As I suspected, it would be wiser to seek alternative solutions in the interim. I wholeheartedly agree. Well, I'll be. I hadn't realized the two of you had become such good chums. Would you care to also settle the territorial dispute over the Nord Highlands too while you're at it? Point well taken, Your Highness. We'll have to leave discussing that matter for another day. Time is growing short, gentlemen. I'd advise we move on to other proposals. Very well, then. As proposed by His Excellency, let's review.
This is bad. It is exactly like Mr. Grimwood warned us it would be.
The Blood and Iron Chancellor and President are going knives out on Crossbell right now. There is nothing the Mayor or Speaker can say in objection.
They are right that Crossbell's state laws have several structural flaws. That's making it harder for grandfather and uncle to deny what they're saying.
Maybe, but those flaws were built into Crossbell by the major powers during its founding 70 years ago. They're using that to their advantage to force their unreasonable demands. They scripted things to go down like this from the very beginning. As I've told you before, the the discourse of the conference itself has nothing to do with us. Keep your heads on straight, and see to it that we make it through today. Yeah, sorry about that.
In that case, should we begin another patrol?
This is Dudley, 1st Division. Emma, has something... What? What's going on?
Something must have happened.
The Red Constellation and Hayway are both on the move. They've already shaken our surveillance.
No way.
What? Don't panic. We knew this could happen. Stay alert. I'll keep you posted if there are any further developments.
Understood.
Now's a good time as ever. We should begin mobilizing our reserve forces. Damn, this is really gonna go down, huh? What the hell are they planning?
Randy.
Try to keep your cool, Randy. We know the Red Constellation isn't the real threat.
Right. The brunt of the police force is protecting the entrance of the building. They can't possibly be hoping for a fight like that, can they?
Everything we know says that's unlikely. Them moving isn't good news, though. What was that you just said?
What's going on down there? Grandfather?
Your Excellency, what was that you just said? My apologies, but would you please repeat yourself? I'll gladly say it as many times as you'd like. Disband the Crossbell Guardian Force. In its place, have the security forces of the other countries permanently stationed in Crossbell. That is the most logical course of action.
Please wait a moment. Surely you are not forgetting the terms of the Non-Aggression Pact, Chancellor Osborne.
Of course not. We agreed not to use force to solve disputes in or over Crossbell. This, however, is not an attempt at invasion. I am merely stating the obvious. A useless pseudo-military organization that loses control and threatens its own people's lives should be disbanded. In practice, the Crossbell Guardian Force is inconsequential when placed before the Imperial or even Republican army. In front of true tanks, the CGF's armored cars may as well be made of paper. To say nothing of the drain on Crossbell and Mira it costs to maintain, leave matters of state security to foreign military forces. That is the best and most cost-efficient solution for a mere autonomous territory. I think this is far too radical of an option. And just how do you propose these foreign military forces be designated? Are you suggesting that it be the Imperial Army? I don't recall saying that. Then again, I'm willing to forgive Crossbell's past transgressions and offer the Imperial Army's assistance if necessary. Small price to pay for the sake of peace in Western Zemuria, wouldn't you say? Settle down, everyone. There's no reason to get so worked up. I agree the Chancellor's proposal is a bit drastic. However, I share his opinion that the CGF leaves much to be desired and is wholly inadequate when it comes to state security. Oh, what would you propose then? This is only a suggestion, but I would propose beginning with mass reduction of Guardian Force enrollment levels. In exchange, Calvard will assume responsibility for Tangram Gate. Erebonia can do the same for Bellegarde Gate. That way, both armies will be able to respond to emergencies even here in Crossbell City. Isn't that no better, Mr. President? It's worth consideration. You're an impressive man, President Rocksmith. You managed to be an excellent statesman and leader, all while fending off staunch political opposition. Not compared to you, Chancellor. You're reforming an entire empire while suppressing the influence of disgruntled nobles.
This can't be happening.
I've heard enough. You are aware there are more than 2 countries participating in this conference, yes? Pardon me, Your Highness. The President and I may have gone a little sidetracked. Still, the direction of conversation is obvious. Would you two mind giving us your opinions on the idea? Dadgum.
That's terrible. Absurd is more like it.
It takes some serious balls to say any of this with a straight face.
I hate to say it, but it's not as though their proposals don't have any basis. Still, I was hoping things wouldn't come to this.
This might be part of where we hope they can hold out just a little bit longer. Now of all times,
it could be Dudley.
Banning's here. Hey, it's Sergey. Chief Sergey, what's going on? No time, I'll keep it short. Sonia just called me. Radar trackers near Tangram Gate and Belgard Gate were destroyed. The same ones being used as anti-air radars are to detect any potential invading ships in Crossbell's airspace.
What?
She suspects it was the work of the terrorists. I've already filled Dudley in. I'll tell you what I told him. Be careful and get ready. Roger that.
What's wrong?
Is it my uncle and the others? No, not them. It was... Please, everyone, may I have your attention? Regarding your concerns over security measures, I would like to offer my own suggestion. Oh? Huh, I thought you'd been staying a little too quiet. Let's hear it. What do you suggest? Very well, I was thinking... Uh-oh.
Oh no.
What?
Airships? The glass is bulletproof, right?
There's no way. Is it the terrorists? They came all the way here. Don't worry, the windows are bulletproof, tempered glass. But to be safe, I'd ask you all to get back away from the windows. Not good. Not in the slightest.
Are you alright, Your Highness? Yes, I'm fine.
That airship just now was a high-speed Reinford model. Yes, there's no mistaking it.
The other was a Verne Company military gunship.
Right. This aligns with the reports of one having been stolen. Yes, thank the goddess. Never mind that. Where did they go? Good. You should be able to hear me now. Conference attendees, allow me to introduce ourselves. We are the Imperial Liberation Front. And we represent the anti-immigration faction seeking to protect the traditions and sanctity of our beloved Calvard. What? The two terrorist groups active in the Empire and the Republic? We have formed an alliance to topple our respective enemies. Prepare yourself, Blood and Iron Chancellor Gileath Osborne. President Rocksmith, you've met your end. To protect the traditions of our Calvard from the abomination of the East, we will stop at nothing. How foolish. Utter nonsense. Yeah, but this ain't looking too good. Here they come. Man. They must really hate those guys. I mean, it's obvious. They're headed straight for us? Damn it, this is why those blueprints were there. Regardless, we need to have the CGF unit on standby. Move. What? What the heck? Why would it... What's happening? No good. There's no response from the panel. Ugh, what in Idios' name is going on?
Hey, what about my scoop? Do something, Rains.
What am I supposed to do, Grace? This is far from ideal.
Orcus Tower's systems must be under their control. It is likely the work of the hacker from yesterday.
It's time we have to move. Let's get to the 35th floor and protect the dignitaries.
Roger.
If the elevator's out, then we gotta head for the emergency stairs.